Welcome to the deep dive. Our mission, as always, is to take the critical research, the sources you provide, and just distill them into pure, valuable insight.
And today we are going way back, into Australia's deep past.
We're looking at a time when the continent was home to a creature. Well, a creature so bizarre, it pretty much breaks all the rules of evolution we think we know.
We've got a whole stack of research here on the paleontology and anatomy of Thylacoleo carnifex.
The marsupial lion.
That's the one. And it really forces you to throw out everything you think a marsupial is supposed to be.
So our goal today is to really unpack the contradictions of this animal. I mean, we're talking about the greatest mammalian predator Australia has ever known.
Absolutely, an apex predator.
But it's anatomically just a puzzle. It's got the bite force of an African lion. It's built like a bear, but its closest relatives are probably, what, koalas? Wombats?
It's an evolutionary masterpiece and a total head-scratcher.
Okay, let's unpack this. When the biologist Sir Richard Owen first saw the fossils in the 19th century, he was just floored.
He was.
He called it, and this is a quote, one of the fellas and most destructive of predatory beasts. Even from just a few fragments, he could see the power.
And that power, it all starts with the sheer scale of the thing.
Right, because when I think of a marsupial carnivore today, I'm thinking Tasmanian devil.
A Tasmanian devil, maybe a quoll, and they top out at what, maybe 8 kilograms?
They're small. Impressive, but small.
Exactly. The Thylacoleo was in a completely different league. It was the size of a jaguar.
Wow.
But not sleek like a jaguar. It was heavily built, really robust and stocky, almost bear-like in its proportions.
And the weight.
We're talking somewhere around 100 to 160 kilograms. That's 20 times bigger than a Tassie devil. It was true megafauna.
And the research says its power matched that size. I mean, the bite force comes up again and again.
Oh, yeah. That's how it got its name. Not because it looked like a lion, but because the power in its jaw was proportionally as strong as a big male African lion. Just immense crushing force.
But this is where the comparison to a lion completely falls apart.
Yeah. Completely. As soon as you look inside its mouth, it's a whole different story. The whole dental arrangement is bizarre.
Because a lion has those huge, iconic canine teeth for stabbing.
The daggers.
Yeah. And Thylacoleo didn't have them.
Not at all. It lacked those massive canines entirely. So the big question for early paleontologists was, how did it deliver the killing blow?
So what did it have?
Well, up front, its 2 central incisors were enormous. They were elongated, pointed. It looked less like a cat and more like some kind of terrifying giant rodent.
It's like a giant angry beaver with the jaw strength of a lion.
It's a strange image, but yeah. But the real weapons weren't even those front teeth.
No.
The truly terrifying part was further back along the sides of the jaw. Its third premolars were modified into these massive elongated blades.
Well, sources describe them as bolt cutters.
That's the perfect description. They weren't for chewing, they were for slicing, cleanly through flesh, through sinew, probably even through bone. It was the ultimate meat slicer.
A shearing bite, not a stabbing one. And this brings us to what might be the biggest contradiction of all. Its family tree.
This is the part that still blows my mind.
Because you'd think a super predator evolved from, other predators.
You would, but all the evidence, the skull morphology, the way the teeth erupted, it all suggests the whole Thylacoleonid family didn't come from other carnivores. It came from herbivores.
Herbivores like?
Like the ancestors of the wombat and koala suborder, or possibly the possum family, one of those 2 groups of leaf eaters.
That is just... It's so hard to picture. An animal with this killing power starting from a lineage designed for chewing gum leaves.
It's an extreme case of divergent evolution. Australia didn't have the big placental carnivores you saw elsewhere, so a niche was open, and this lineage just radically adapted to fill it.
Evolution loves a good plot twist.
It certainly does.
But to understand how this koala cousin actually hunted, we have to look away from the teeth for a second and at a major physical weakness.
We need to look at its feet.
Exactly. All that power, all that muscle, but the research suggests it was a terrible runner.
Just awful. Its feet weren't designed for speed or endurance. They weren't built for a chase across the plains like a lioness. They barely seem evolved to run at all.
So you get this apex predator that can't actually chase down its prey. That's a huge problem if you're trying to hunt giant kangaroos or Diprotodon.
A massive problem. And that very limitation is what leads us to the drop cat theory.
Okay, and we should clarify, this is not the mythical drop bear from Australian folklore.
No, this is a serious scientific hypothesis. Since it couldn't run things down, the theory is that it was arboreal. Scansorial. a tree dweller.
There's a climber.
An expert climber. The idea is it would climb up into the dense canopy, find a strong branch, and just wait.
An ambush predator.
The ultimate ambush predator. It would wait for prey to wander underneath and then just drop, using its weight and gravity to multiply the force of the attack, and then using those bolt cutter teeth for an instant kill.
And its other features back this up, right? The claws.
Perfectly. It had these huge, semi-opposable, thumb-like claws on its front feet.
Not just for grabbing prey, but for climbing.
Exactly. For digging into bark, for maneuvering through the trees, they were multi-purpose tools, hooks for climbing, and then hooks for holding onto struggling prey.
And its tail.
Also crucial. The fossils show a strong, muscular tail, a bit like a kangaroo's. It could have used it as a third leg, a tripod,
So it could sit back on its haunches.
and free up its powerful forelimbs for climbing, or for grappling with a carcass on the ground. It provided that essential stability.
It's incredible how successful that one strategy was. The Thylacoleonidae family was around for a huge stretch of time.
An immense amount of time. They first show up in the Oligocene, that's about 34 million years ago, and they survived all the way to the end of the Pleistocene.
So they saw Australia change dramatically over millions and millions of years.
They did. And the family diversified, from tiny little house cat-sized ones like Thylacoleo all the way up to our huge Thylacoleo carnifex.
But the fossil record suggests that there were never that many species around at one time.
That's right, usually not more than one or two species coexisting. It seems they were such specialists that once a niche was filled, there just wasn't room for a competitor.
They were the undisputed kings of their particular castle.
For millions of years, unchallenged, until everything changed.
Which brings us to its extinction. But before we go there, we have to mention the discovery that really locked in our understanding of this animal.
The 2002 find, yeah, that was a game changer.
This was in a cave on the Nullarbor Plain in southern Australia.
That's right, a deep cave system. And researchers found not one, but 13 skeletons, including one that was almost perfectly complete.
And that let scientists see the whole picture.
The whole picture. They could confirm posture, muscle attachments, how it moved. It reinforced all those theories about it being a climber, an ambusher.
And the sad part is how those skeletons got there. The thinking is that the animals themselves just fell in.
It's a tragic snapshot, isn't it? They were probably hunting or maybe drawn in by the scent of something already trapped, and then they couldn't get out.
A death trap that became a scientific treasure trove.
Exactly. So those fossils tell us the Thylacoleo was thriving until its final extinction, which happened somewhere around 50,000 to 46,000 years ago. It was one of the last great members of the Australian megafauna to vanish.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, that 50,000-year mark is one of the most significant dates in Australian prehistory.
It is, because it lines up almost perfectly with the arrival of the first humans on the continent.
And whenever you see a successful species vanish that quickly after a new, intelligent competitor arrives, you have to ask questions.
You have to explore the causality, and the sources lay out three main and probably interconnected theories for what happened.
And we should be really clear here. We're just reporting on the ideas within the research. We're not picking a side.
Right. So theory number one is the most direct conflict.
Humans just killed them off.
Essentially. The idea is that this was a huge, dangerous predator. It was a threat. And so, for their own protection, early humans may have actively hunted them to extinction.
Plausible, but maybe not the whole story. The second theory is about competition.
Resource competition, or prey depletion. Humans were incredibly effective hunters, and as they spread, they would have put immense pressure on the Thylacoleo's food supply.
All the giant wombats, the big flightless birds.
All of them. And a hyper-specialized predator like the marsupial lion, which was built to hunt that specific type of megafauna, might not have been able to adapt when its menu started disappearing.
It couldn't just switch to hunting smaller, faster animals.
Probably not. It was too slow, too specialized. Its entire strategy was based on that big prey.
Which leads to the third major theory, which is about habitat change, specifically fire.
Right. Early humans used fire to manage the landscape, so-called fire stick farming. This reshaped entire ecosystems.
And if you're a drop cat,
If you're a drop cat and someone burns down the dense forests you need for your ambush, your entire hunting advantage is gone.
you're suddenly exposed, on the ground, and you can't run.
It's a death sentence, and it was probably a combination of all three. Your prey is disappearing, your home is changing, and there's a new, highly intelligent predator that sees you as a threat.
Whatever the precise mix was, the marsupial lion disappeared, and all that's left is the fossil record of its long, powerful reign.
It's a sobering reminder that even a creature that was successful for 34 million years can be incredibly fragile when its ecosystem changes too fast.
So let's just bring together the key takeaways from this deep dive. We have a marsupial the size of a jaguar, built like a bear, with the bite of an African lion.
But this incredible killer was somehow descended from gentle herbivores like koalas, and it hunted with teeth that weren't fangs, but were more like evolutionary bolt cutters.
And the big lesson for you, the learner, is really about the power of an ecological vacuum. Australia was missing those big placental predators, and that void allowed this herbivore line to do something radical.
To specialize in this incredible way, creating the ultimate ambush predator, it's proof that life will always find a way to fill an open niche.
Which brings us to our final provocative thought for you to think about. The Thylacoleo was the definition of a specialist. It was perfectly tuned for a specific type of prey in a specific environment.
For millions of years, that strategy was unbeatable.
So here's the question. Could the very thing that made it so successful, that hyper-specialization, have been the precise weakness that doomed it when humans arrived and changed the rules of the game so quickly?
Is it better, in the long run, to be a generalist who can adapt or a specialist who achieves perfection?
Something to mull over. Thanks for listening.